We are live. Let's go. What's up, everybody? What's up, Solar Fam? We got a special live today with my good friend, the one and only Jonathan Gibbs. Obviously, everybody knows he's the founder and creator of Nito and the founder of Solar.ai, and one of the smartest guys in the industry. I love picking his brain as much as I can. He knows he's on my phone all the time, always hitting him up. But I really wanted to get Jonathan on here today because we are talking about AI, but AI is not a lot of what we thought it is. There's way more to it. And for me, it's really important for everybody to know all these little things that I didn't know. I thought it was like, oh, it just makes it's an AI setter. You're going to set appointments and that's it. Like, that is one of the last things it actually does. And Jonathan's here today to really let us know what's going on with AI. But I appreciate you being here, Jonathan.
Yeah, absolutely. Always great, Joe. And excited to do this. And I know we want to go fast and furious because time is money. So if you want to jump in, I got a couple freebies just to give everybody the last 90 days, things I've experienced, things I'm playing with, things I've learned that we can just give people to start using, even in whatever company they're using. If you're using ChatGPT, using other things. Do you want to dive into that?
Let's do it, baby.
Okay, some resources. How do I share my screen on this platform? Under present?
Yep, go to present, and then you should be able to share.
Great. I'm gonna do entire screen. All right, so one of the first reasons, so our AI team had a chance to go to Stanford a couple months ago and actually spend time with Reid Hoffman, who was Elon's partner in PayPal, then later started LinkedIn. He's some of the early capital into Uber, Airbnb, and actually one of the big investors in ChatGPT early. And one of the best resources right now in all of AI, one of the things I learned in the last 90 days is like the Center for Artificial Intelligence is really on Stanford campus. And there's this institute right here, the Human Center of Artificial Intelligence. They're a separate institute. They're totally separate than Stanford. And they have trainings, they have webinars. They're very active on LinkedIn. They're very active in what they do. And like the top 50 companies in the world in this space are all sharing, learning, sharing information on this platform with each other. And so this is one of my big takeaways. Yes, there's a lot of classes you can take that are paid classes. Almost all the stuff that comes out of high at Stanford is free. So I would get on their webinar schedule. I would follow the articles and the things that they're publishing here. This is just a great resource. One of the things that I learned from Reid, like personally, was not just, ChatGPT and some of the great things, like I've been using that for almost 2 years now, but like one of the values of ChatGPT, like for an entrepreneur, is creating a minister of experts. So let's say you're a small business person, right? Like we all know how ChatGPT works. I can go in, ask a question. I'm gonna get a lot of information. So I want to show you some of the prompts that I've done here for here. So here's one prompt, right? In the residential solar market in the USA, potential customers are often concerned with objections. So I asked ChatGPT to list 20 objections and how to overcome them. And it did a really good job. What a minister of experts means is ask ChatGPT the same prompt, but now from the position of a CPA, from the position of an environmentalist, from the position of a survivalist, and you get a completely different answer. So starting to ask ChatGPT from an expert standpoint. So here's the same objection, high initial cost, and here's how you would handle it from a CPA perspective. So if someone is really numbers driven, here's how you could handle it from an environmentalist standpoint. Here's how you could overcome that objection from a survivalist standpoint. Consider it a long-term investment in self-sufficiency and energy independence, reducing reliance on external energy sources, right? So you have like, and you can use this anywhere in your business. So you can take any business problem and you can ask ChatGPT or, Gronk or whoever you're using, ask it from the perspective of a specific person or a specific level of licensing or a specific work. Like ask it from the perspective of a CFO of $100 million solar company. How would I solve this? And you're going to get very, very different answers. So that was like one of my takeaways from that day is like creating in my daily life, right? So think of your org chart and how big a lot of us have to become, right? Before we can have like a a board of directors, right, that are helping us. They're experts in what they do. We can go and ask them questions. Asking ChatGPT this information from the perspective of the expert really changes it. And like for me personally, it makes this tool like 10 times more valuable. So that's something I've been doing a lot over the last 90 days, not just asking ChatGPT specific things, but asking them the specific questions from the vantage point of a certain verifiable expert. So those are a couple things. And then I shared the doc. If you want to cut and paste that Docker, I can upload this link here. Let me see here. If you want to see it, referral partners, solar objections, cut and paste in the chat. Is there a chat here? I can put it in.
Yep.
All right. So, and then I sent you the document too. If you want to send the document out, I made a document. It's non-branded, has nobody's logos on it. So any sales org can share this. You guys can have this, put your own logo on the top of it. It's actually a great resource for new salespeople. So I put the link in so it can be live on Facebook. And you can just take it and use it. And it's really amazing when you look at this resource. It's really incredible. Like it took me 30 seconds to create that resource for my sales teams, right? It's 5 or 6 pages. It's really well written, right? Like there's no spelling errors in there. And it really positions the product for multiple different personalities.
So we are going live on multiple platforms. So on Facebook, you'll be able to see it in the comments. You'll see it on YouTube and Twitch. But if you're on LinkedIn or Twitter, you just let us know, message us, and we'll get that over to you.
One of the big things, if you know how much AI is changing, so some of the research that's being done in Stanford right now, it's being there's a lady that's won a Nobel Peace Prize on Stanford campus for her research in organizations, like the structure of organizations. And this is what's fundamentally changing. Like here's an organization, right, of a call center. And AI, here's how radical this would be. AI would literally replace everything under this person right here. So I have a friend, he's Lanham Napier. He invested $150 million into Amelia AI out of New York. And they've replaced 5,000 call center operators from a 15,000 seat call center in the last couple of years with higher customer service, higher value. So if you take a look at the old org chart and you take a look at the new org chart, there's only couple people managed, like a quality assurance expert, right? An AI prompter. And there's like 3 people managing 5,000 right now, right? The work of 5,000 versus hundreds of basic level managers, right? That were really just like overlays, right? Like you hire someone for $30 an hour to make sure that people making $15 an hour are doing their job, like not anymore. So AI is going to replace a lot of these things. It's really incredible. I think Mark Zuckerberg.
This is not hype, right? So there is jobs are going to be displaced by AI, and it's about, are we going to utilize it, or are we just going to wait for it to reshape the industry without us being there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say not only is it not hype, but it's the opposite. I think that the average person has no real idea of how far away some of these things is. I think people feel like they have a lot of time, like it's not urgent. Like this is years and years out. At SolarCon, we shared some like fun information, right? Like the top chess player in the world has been AI, since the 90s, the top poker player since the 2000s. But no, it's replacing things. It's replacing a lot of things. Like in my company right now, in my solar company, we're building an AI agent for like mental health, literally to check in with sales reps once a day, just to see how they're doing, like emotionally, since commission only sales is like a big part of their production is how they're feeling. So like we send out an informational quote every day. We ask people how they're doing, how they're feeling. If there's one way we could support you today, what would that be? And these are great things to do, but you get your sales manager trying to do that with 100 reps. And now you just took them out of production for like half of the day, where AI can simultaneously do this and then connect people to the help that they need really, 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 really fast. HR onboarding, we're ramping up to onboard like 2,000 reps in November, December, January. And we're going to do it with one HR person and like an AI track, where the AI is going to send people the forms they have to fill out. And once they've reached certain milestones, it sends the next form, then the next form. So, a lot of times when you send a new employee, like 5 different documents that they have to send out. They're sort of overwhelmed. So one of the nice things about AI, it can just spoon feed them, right, the information that they need, and then it can let them know which parts they didn't fill out correctly, and then it can be automatically connected to whatever, you know, tech stack you're using. But I'm really excited to see how, like, Nito right now, you know, we had a great time at SolarCon, by the way, 2024. Thank you so much. We had actually dozens of solar companies, roofing companies, sign up for our services, and almost, you know, everybody at this point is seeing ROI month 1. And we've really boiled down since the title of this was really for knocking doors and maximizing for knocking doors. And I'd love to show people kind of like the things that they can do right now with AI at the door. And I've personally tested, like I've personally gone out, I personally knocked doors with this. I've seen customers' face changes. It's pretty remarkable. So I'll share my screen on that.
Yeah. And you talked about the HR onboarding and the therapy. Is that therapy? That's like something companies don't even have. Now you can offer things that would be like, wouldn't even be imaginable before, right? Is there anything else like that you're seeing?
Oh yeah, I mean, so for Nito, right, we're just a software company and we build AI employees. And right now we have AI employees that do tax services. We have an AI employee that does merchant processing. We have AI employee that's managing a class action lawsuit, telling people what they're eligible for. It's incredible, right? We have definitely AI employees in home services, right? Selling roofs, selling solar, selling pests, selling fiber, these types of things. But like any type of routine, like sales is like hard, right? And the AI is performing. If you have like customer service related information, if you have like problem solving where 1 + 1 = 2, like AI is just like crushing that stuff. Like you cannot pay a human being to do what AI can do. I mean, like AI is like, it's not even 10%, Joe. It's like 1 to 5% of the cost of that employee, because I can give, like, even if I'm just making her a call center operator in a call center, right? I can still give her a PhD in communication, right? I can make her a master communicator in the same amount of time it takes us to train a $15 an hour employee. I can train her as if she's a $300,000 a year employee with that type of knowledge base and skill set and it wildly changes the customer experience. Here, well, let's do this. Let me dive into like door to, since we market this as like make more money door to doors. Let me tell you how I'm doing this. And yes, like there are some branded, right? This says Solar AI, but I want to show you that like I'm eating my own dog food, right? Like I'm paying Nito as a customer as well at Solar AI. I'm using these tools at the door, and we're fundamentally seeing like incredible results. So step 1 is everybody gets an AI assistant their first day. This is live. So if you're watching this, you can literally hold your phone to that and scan it. And you can start talking to Annie like right off that. And she's filling up people's calendars with appointments. All right. So let me show you what we're getting started with. This is incredible. So the first thing we're getting started with is like age data. And I got to tell you, if you're running a solar company or roofing company and you have unsold proposals, we now have campaigns. Like Joe, we did this like a year ago. Since we were doing this together for a year, we have clients that have now sold 5 to 10% of their unsold proposals because we did a rehash campaign with Annie. And these are actually real numbers from one of our accounts where someone gave us 4,000 contacts and we had 48% of those people actively talking to Annie on a monthly basis. And it's not like a silver bullet. Like it doesn't just, people do get deals month 1, but what happens is it climbs. She simply stays in touch with the people every single month and she answers their questions. She books appointments to herself when someone says, I'm not ready now in November. I'd like to talk about it in February. She puts that in her calendar in February, and you can view your calendar. You can view her calendar. And then she reaches out to them in a text message or a phone call and talks to them again in February, gets them closer. And so when she schedules these appointments, a lot of them are not selling appointments. They're buying appointments because they've been talking to a highly educated customer service agent / sales agent for months. And now they're scheduling appointment. So this is great. We're hearing a lot of great things of people getting like realtors to give them their databases. And then we're marketing to realtor databases for solar referrals. Think of any accounts that you have access to that you're legally allowed to text And it's really, it's turning data into revenue. Now, this is fundamentally really important because I know a lot of us have been talking about like the TCPA laws that are changing in January. So if you have a data set, you really only have like 3 or 4 months to use it and like get them to opt in. So sending out a campaign and asking people, would you like to get future notices if your utility rates go up? Would you like to get future notices if the cost of solar go down? And then getting them to say, yes, I would like that future notice. Then that gives you permission to contact them after January 1. And some of you might not have that permission based on the lead. So age data, it's working really well. Second use case that's working really well is a trainer. So we have brand new setters for dozens of companies that are literally getting deals their first week in business because they can go to the door and the homeowner can ask them any single question, right? Like what happens when the power turns off? Like that's one that people really misanswer often, right? And the person can say, hey, I'm brand new. But I'm going to get you to answer this question in just a few seconds. I have my AI trainer right here. What happens when the power turns off? And then the answer comes in less than 5 seconds, and you can just read it to the customer. You can show it to the customer, and it gets the customer interested on a totally different level. You know, we've all had experiences where, you know, a lot of people really like to work with brand new sales reps because they don't feel like that brand new sales rep is, you know, putting one over on them or manipulating them in some way. Like you can tell when someone's new and just happy, like it feels good to work with a brand new sales rep who's just really, really happy. However, if they don't know anything, if they can't answer anything, you realize, okay, well, we're not doing anything here because you can't answer any of my questions. This puts that brand new person with great energy and who's really friendly in a really position to set a great sale or make a great close, because every single question that the customer can ask them, like they can turn around and give the answer. But this is where the gold is right now. I'm sorry, like this is where the gold is. I told you I was going to do this. I personally went out and did this. We did this in Phoenix, Arizona. We're now doing this, and it's live now in like 14, 15 different states. So what we can do is we can program Annie to your utility company. We can program Annie to the cut sheets of the equipment that you personally use. So she only talks about equipment that your company uses. We can program her to the exact financing plans that you want to use so she can quote these things. And here's what they're doing. So for literally like our basic entry level product now is like $5,000 a month. For $5,000 a month, you could have 100 reps. You could have 500 reps. You could give them all an AI assistant right now. And here's how it works. A setter goes to the door and they set an appointment. And then they scan, they have the homeowner do, hey, do you have your phone? They take out their camera and they scan that QR code and it sends a text message and it says, I just got done talking to Jonathan. And so Annie says, that's great. Did you set an appointment with Jonathan? And so if they did set an appointment, I would tell the homeowner, yes, tell me you set an appointment. Now tell me your appointment's 8 o'clock on Thursday, Pacific time. And now Annie's going to take them through a qualification sequence. This is really missing in door to door. You got like new setters. They get so excited. They set an appointment and then they kind of run away from the door without like properly qualifying the customer. So as closers, we're showing up all the time and like there was no deal here. Like this person has a 500 credit score. No one asked them their credit score question. No one asked if they were a homeowner sometimes, right? Like, so Annie takes them through a qualification process. And then Annie automatically does a reminder text. So Thursday morning, Annie's going to text all your appointments and say, hey, as a reminder, you have an appointment with Jonathan today. Let me know if you have any questions. Now, right now in door to door, a lot of people are getting like a 50% sit rate. Like that's like 50% sit rate. So instead of getting a 50% sit rate and 50% no-show rate, we're rescheduling a lot of those 50%. So we're seeing people get like 75, 80, 85% sit rate, and people are rescheduling multiple times. You know, and we do this. You know, I had a root canal this year. It was miserable and it was really my fault. Like my tooth started hurting. I scheduled a dentist appointment. On the day of my appointment, I wanted to do my Zooms more than I wanted to go to the dentist. I rescheduled this thing for about 30 days. And by the time I got in there, they're like, Gibbs, we got to go take this whole tooth out now. And so, you know, and I wanted it, right? Like it wasn't, so we reschedule things that we want. And what we're seeing is people who actually were scheduled 3 or 4 times end up being better appointments. Because you give them, you know, they feel like they're interested, they're ready, they keep that appointment. They're like, yeah, I don't want to delay this anymore. I've rescheduled this 4 times. So it's actually a great benefit. But what happens when we can't set that appointment? Like how many conversations are we having every day? Like if you have 20 salespeople in your team, how many conversations are those 20 people having that are not resulting in an appointment or a deal, right? And 20 salespeople, it could be 5 a day, 10 a day each. That's 100, 200 conversations that ultimately you're making no money for. And if we're being honest with ourselves, we're not taking that customer data and putting it in a rep card. We're not taking that customer data and putting it in a sales rabbit. We're only putting the appointment data in, if that, or a lot of people are only putting the deal data in. So this was my mission like 8 years ago, is I wanted to enable the door-to-door rep to get value from a conversation without spending a lot of time. All you have to do is get that homeowner to scan the QR code and ask Annie 1 or 2 questions. And it's amazing. So let's say I'm talking to a customer, and we launched this in Arizona where people are really skeptical. And I was on the doors and I was talking to customers, and customers like, hey, I'm just not interested. And I said, okay, well, I'd never have to come back to your home. Let me give you something that no one's given you before. I want to give you an AI solar buying assistant. She's literally programmed to just tell you the truth. She's connected to your utility power company. She can literally send you a text message every time they raise their rates. She's connected to like the latest, greatest information, and she can't lie. In fact, let's give her a test. Let's just ask her right now, is solar a scam in Phoenix? And so like baiting, yeah, like when you bait the homeowner with like a negative question, like they really get into it. And so then you see people go, okay, let's ask her. And then, they ask that question, and then a response comes back in 5 seconds. And not everyone, but you can see a lot of people, like more than half, you can just see their face like change, right? Like to like, oh, wow. I'm like, ask her another question. Ask her, what happens when your power turns off? Right? And they get such a sophisticated answer, and they get it in writing, and it really creates consumer confidence. And I think that's what we're dealing with the most right now. There's a survey that I read earlier this year, and it says, a lot of people in America want solar, but over 50% of people in America that want solar, they already know they want to make solar. They don't know who to buy it from, right? And it's like, for so many years now, right? Like reps have refused basically to give customers information unless they're sitting. And, people, especially in markets like California, Texas, Florida, Massachusetts, Arizona, like these are really, really educated customers today. When you start giving the power to your homeowner and you start giving them the ability to get all of their questions answered in real time whenever they want, you're going to get deals. You're going to get good deals. You're going to get customers that stick, that don't cancel, that give you referrals. And that's it, and of course, Annie can run a referral sequence for you too. So that's how we're using it at the door. We got dozens of companies right now in America using this, like starting to use this at the door. And, like my favorite thing is, we get a new customer, and like my project managers, they text me when they get their first deal. And like almost every single customer that we've onboarded since SolarCon, like got 1 or 2 deals in their very, very first month. And then it climbs and it climbs from there. Some get a lot more. Some get, dozens of deals. But, if your expectation is really low the first month, like that's the key. Like this isn't a silver bullet that works in the first month. Why it works is it stays in touch with people over many months. And over that period of time, it builds confidence and trust. So you get like really high quality sits over time.
Now, we know obviously humans can say stupid things and say the wrong answers and just not know what they're talking about sometimes, right? But with AI, it's not perfect either, right? Is there any issues with it saying the wrong thing or not knowing an answer or just anything like that? Glitches?
Yeah. So on this point, I'm really, really proud of this point. And our solar agent is probably our best agent, right? Because like I've spent the most time on it. But we have a guardrail system to really prevent that. Now, we program her with things. So like, let's say in Texas, she's pre-programmed with like an $80 bill or more. And so she'll tell your customer, if the customer says my bill is $75, she'll tell the customer, well, you're not a good candidate for solar then. But that's because you wanted an $80 or higher. So like, those type of things sometimes are answers that we have to change. Like people will give us the answers that they want, and then they'll maybe change them along we go when they see how that answer is like affecting like some of her production. But no, she doesn't. She has very, very few hallucinations. She doesn't say crazy stuff. In fact, we have what's called a human in the loop. When she's less than 90% confident in her answer, she doesn't send it. And what she does is she flags this conversation in the CRM. And if you've downloaded the app on your phone, it sends you like a push notification. So you know instantly that there's a stalled conversation. So you can go in there and you can see her answer. Her answer is pre-populated, but it hasn't sent. And then you can press send, or you can manually change that answer to something that is more accurate or the way you want it to answer. And then she sends that, and then she learns that way for next time. So like when we launch a few customers, we do ask people to sort of, monitor her conversations for the first month. We've had a lot of successful customers like not need any changes. And then like in some of my own markets, like you're talking about like 3 or 4 text messages out of like, thousands. We're like, okay, we could do better here. Like, so you're like way under 1%, like a percentage of 1%.
Now, we know that homeowners don't usually like talking to humans. They hear human, they don't want to talk to them at the door. They slam the door. Have you noticed that it's easier for them to text a AI robot knowing it's a robot? Or is it something where it's the same thing and they're not really responding the same?
Yeah, so we have clients that really want it to be a human, and they don't, like in their minds, they don't want it to say that it's AI. And so like we'll program it that way, that will ultimately say it if they're asked more than once. But I've actually found that people like that it's AI, and you can tell by watching the conversations when they realize they're getting an automatic answer, whatever. Like sometimes like a lot of people are really sort of, narcissistic when they're in buy mode. Like when you're checking in a hotel or you're walking on a car lot, like, maybe you have 30 minutes to walk on a car lot, like you're really not interested in the car salesperson's agenda, right? Like you're like, look, I'm just here to see this car, man. Like, let me check out this car. And I think that's the issue, right? Is like, people are not having fun buying a car. People are not having fun buying solar. People are not having fun buying these products because a lot of, and I've done it too, right? Like I've had sales organizations that really functioned with like high levels of control, right? Like, and I think customers want to enjoy spending their money. They don't want to be controlled. They want to be able to ask questions without their spouse and get an answer. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm a 47-year-old man. You can answer this question when my wife isn't here.
So I want to put you on the spot here. Now you've been doing this. You've seen all these kind of employees. Which employee would you say is bringing the most ROI for companies that you see right now? That's like, this is the one you should be doing ASAP.
I mean,
I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
No, I know our campaign that's performed. I mean, we did an ERC campaign that really crushed it. People were getting free money, and so now we have a campaign we're doing right now for a class action lawsuit where tens of thousands of people are eligible for income, and so we're messaging them, and it's doing administrative work, like it's getting them to sign up for their account, answering questions. It's a lot of admin, secretarial work, and it's crushing because obviously people, they want to get their share of the settlement. They want to get their share of the ERC tax credits. But even when people know they're getting free money in that situation, people often delay, procrastinate. And so what we're seeing is that constant on-demand nature is really, really good at getting people to do things that they know they should be doing or want to do, but they're just not finishing it in one hit. You know what I mean? And so like a lot of these clients, like they're filling out their applications like over days or weeks. And so, like they might initiate half the application at 12 on a Tuesday. And then a week later, they want to finish their application midnight on a Friday. And, just the expense of having, an educated person on demand 24/7 who is familiar, like that's one of the big benefits. Like the AI has perfect memory. So you're never starting over again. Like when you call into a call center operator, you call into a salesperson and you feel like you're starting all over again with a brand new person.
Yeah, it's the worst.
It's the worst, right? And so it kind of removes that. So like addiction recovery is performing really, really well, where addicts are calling in with months and gaps in between. And so they feel like they're talking to the same person. Those are like $50 to $100 an hour call center people with like psychology degrees and in high stress environments. And so like AI is doing really, really great there. I love what we're doing in home services. I'm seeing a lot of value across the board. Probably like the easiest product to sell is probably pest or fiber right now in a text message because people just want it, right? So like the value proposition is very straightforward. Like, do you want 10 times faster internet for less? Like, that's just like, she can just check that out right away. Like,
Now, you can only, educate so much on a virtual webinar on a live stream. And I know if you're in Texas, we got a live workshop coming to town. And I think if you're in Texas area, especially the Dallas Fort Worth area, it makes no sense not to go to this workshop. Jonathan blows it away. He has some of the top minds in AI, in the AI industry on his team. So, John, if anybody's in Texas, why should people stop by there?
Yeah. Well, first, it's going to be a small meeting. So we're going to be in Fort Worth at 12 o'clock Central Time, Fort Worth time on Friday. Right now, we have like 12 business owners scheduled. It's a boardroom. I could take probably 4 or 5 more spots. We're gonna drill down further. So I'm gonna show like real life examples of the conversations and the conversions and the sales and the checkout process. So we'll be demoing some of that real, and then really just have a conversation. And like one of the things we saw at SolarCon, which is people really enjoy learning in groups. Like that was definitely like one of our most successful presentations in the breakout room, because we're dealing with something that most of us have never used before. And so it's like we know some questions to ask, but when you're sitting in a room full of like 12 or 15 other educated people that are running their own business and they're asking questions, you tend to get a lot out of like the other people's perspective. I mean, I know I do. And so I think, we're going to go for 90 minutes. I know there's some already people that are planning to go to lunch together afterwards. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity to build your network. I think it's going to be a great opportunity to learn like real life examples of how AI is actually working right now today. And meet other people that are like-minded in that same area.
And I want to make sure I'm clear. Is it only for business owners? Or are you looking for, reps or individuals too?
No, I think it's for like decision makers. So you could be a decision maker at a company and it's your job. Like you're running marketing, you're running sales, you're looking for solutions, you're trying to learn, you've been tasked with like learning about this technology and seeing if there's a fit for your company. Definitely come by. I don't know, I could put my cell phone here if people want to RSVP directly. Do you want me to do that or how? Okay.
Yeah. Or they can email you, I guess, whatever's easier.
Yeah, they can do that or email me. And then if you're in Dallas or you're somewhere else and that time doesn't line up for you and you want to schedule a one-on-one, I do a couple small group Zooms a week. And then I do have time to do a couple one-on-ones a week as well as the website. So we have, I'll put the website up here. We have, I think, 5 or 6 live bots. We have addiction recovery bot live on the website. You can talk to right now. We have an insurance agent, solar agent, roofing agent that you can talk to on the website right now and kind of get an idea of the flow and how it works.
All right. I'm putting your number in the comment section right now. You can be blowing up, bro. Everybody's going to be hitting you up now. You got your number.
That's what we do.
Get the word out, right? You got to be accessible these days. All right. All right, Jonathan, go ahead.
No, that's it, man. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you in the network again. And obviously, I love everything you guys are doing and really appreciate all the support. We've got a lot of support from you and your team, and happy to say that it's produced a lot of happy customers. And so it's just been a win-win. Thank you so much.
You're the man. Appreciate you stopping by. If you guys are in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas area, try to get that invite. I know there's only a few spots left. All right, Jonathan Gibbs, everybody. Appreciate you, man. We are out. Peace.